Hi there, I'm Joseph Quijano, Certified Financial Planner.
And I'm Jordan Quijano. We are a family-owned financial planning firm, Become the Banker. We want to share with you at our Fireside series here, number 7, on what our testimonials have done for our clients and how they've been able to use this phenomenal strategy over the past few years.
Absolutely, and you know, we're a family-owned company and we treat our clients like family. But I want to share with you something that happened to me actually this weekend.
Yes.
You know, we had a gentleman that actually had a policy from a life insurance company that he bought several years ago. I mean, I'm talking about like maybe 10 years ago. And he's been contributing money as premiums, but like we explained on the last video number 6, that most companies do not create a life insurance policy like that, Become the Banker. So they created a policy for him that was not for his benefit. It was for the company and the agent's benefit.
That's horrible.
So he was contributing all this money and he had very little cash.
Well, and that's why people have such a distaste for life insurance, is that right there.
Absolutely right. So he asked me if he was to, would there be a possibility for him to transfer the money from his old policy into the Become the Banker life insurance policy.
Right.
And you know, I hope you people watching the video tonight understand that there is a tax code called 7702 and also a 1035 tax-free exchange, where the government allows you, right? They give you the right to take your older policies and transfer whatever cash you have on those policies into a new, more powerful, and more guaranteed and more liquid life insurance policy like that Become the Banker strategy. And the reason why they do it, Jordan, is because the government knows that life insurance, like anything else, gets better and
over
better
time
as the years go by.
Absolutely.
So if you have an old policy that is not meeting the needs of the Become the Banker strategy, let us know, and we can help you transfer that policy into a new and more powerful and more dynamic Become the Banker policy. And before I turn it over to you, I want to share this with you because the same gentleman this weekend said to me, if I was to transfer my money, how quickly, and that was his words, how quickly would I be able to access those funds so I can pay off a Visa that is charging me almost 20%. And I told him, day one. Day one. That's how liquid this is. So that means basically we transfer the money, he's approved already, and he can get access to that money immediately, day one, and he can actually pay off the Visa. That was his plan, to pay off the Visa and then pay himself back at the same rate that he was paying Visa. Now, how good is that?
Well, that's a perfect plan, because that's the whole concept, is using the Become the Banker strategy and paying yourself what the banks were going to make off of you. So that is a great testimony, because that's what most people end up using, is finding the debts that they're wasting money on, finding the old policies that they're wasting money on as well, and converting it over to the Become the Banker strategy by taking control of their money, their finances, and making the money the banks are going to make off of them. Now, I've got another great story of a client here who's in California, and he's a doctor, and he's very fortunate. He's making good income, good money. I know this isn't every day this is the same story, but this is a particular case, and I won't use his real name for the privacy, but I'll just say Mr. Smith. You know, Mr. Smith, he makes good money. He also does real estate investing. He has multiple homes. I think he has 6, maybe 7 properties that he has financed right now. So he obviously, has some student loan debt, of course, because being a doctor, we all know, very expensive, and it takes quite a bit to pay the student loans off, but he's doing everything right by being able to take the deductions and being able to take the credits that a lot of hospitals and particular businesses offer if you work at specific places for being a doctor. Now for him though, it was going to take, I believe it was over 34, 35 years before he was going to be debt free on all 6 of those mortgages. Even though he had renters in each one and they were paying overpayments to each one, we're talking about almost a lifetime of being in debt with the banks. And the amount of interest he would have paid over that life would have been, I think, over $2 million, because he had about $2 million financed. But that's almost, we all know you pay about 150 to 200 times more than each mortgage at the end of the term. So he's going to pay close to $4 million for all those properties. I mean, who made off with the money there? The banks.
Yeah.
So after he sat down with us and met over the computer, we were able to show Mr. Smith how to get out of debt in 9.5 years to be exact. 9.5 years, completely debt-free, all the properties paid off, all the rental properties, and his primary mortgage paid off, and gets this, his student loan as well. Was he happy? Of course. He had all the homes paid off free and clear. He had the policy all paid off, and better yet, not only did he have the equity in the homes, but he had the equity in the policy, and he got the best of both worlds.
And not only that, I still remember that case, that retirement.
Oh yeah.
He had over $1 million in retirement, a pool of money.
Funds that he can pull on tax-free.
Yeah.
So that is the power. Tax-free money versus taxable money, you just can't beat it. And when people say you're going to get with these plans, you're going to get a 4% tax-free rate of return. So sometimes people say, well, that's pretty good, but that's not a huge return. We don't forget it's a tax-free 4%. So to equal that in a regular investment, you probably have to be making about 8 or 9% taxable, that after you net out and pay taxes, you'll get about 4%. Well, this is tax-free 4%, no risk at all.
That is right. And I just want to share my own experience, okay? I love dogs, as you can see. And we had 2 beautiful beagles that actually passed away about, I would say about 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
And they passed away, sad, they passed away within 1 month.
Bailey and Bentley. Yeah.
Bailey and Bentley. And we tried to save them. I mean, we tried everything to save them. We spent over $10,000, I believe, on each dog.
Because they had cancer and tumors.
No, they had a
tumor.
kidney and tumors.
Yes, right. That's
and cancer. And we tried to do everything, surgeries, everything,
operations,
right?
all that,
operations after operations.
Which we all know it's not cheap.
No.
It's not. They gouge you when you go to a hospital.
$10,000 per dog. Think about that. But we wanted to save them.
Absolutely.
Okay? So we took them to the best doctor, to the best vet, to the best hospital. I mean, Dr. Marquis,
yes,
right?
Fantastic.
So all I'm saying to you is that the money came from my policy. I took a policy loan from the Become the Banker policy that I have and paid off those medical bills, those vet bills.
You even got a discount, I'm sure, by doing a cash discount.
Oh, absolutely,
up front.
I did.
Yes.
And then after that, I paid myself back because my policy is back to being full again, so I can use that again for any other emergency. So the point that I'm trying to make here, like my son was saying, you can be out of debt. We can help people be out of debt in 9 years or less. But most importantly, if you have an emergency, which
we all are going to.
Sure, you have the capacity to be able to pay it off.
Right. And not only for debt, maybe some people don't have any debt. And the other side to the coin is there's going to be future expenses, whether it be a home remodel, whether it be new tires on a vehicle, a vacation. There are going to be future expenses that you're better off self-financing it through Become the Banker than paying cash. The problem with a lot of people is when you pay cash, you lose that money forever and you lose the ability of that money making money for you again. So we call that the lost opportunity cost. What could the money have made you had you even leave it at the bank or in another account giving you 1 or 2 or 3%? So you not only did you lose the money forever, but you lost that opportunity of it working for you. So Become the Banker, it focuses on 2 strategies. OPM, using other people's money, and paying yourself first. Those are the 2 strategies and the 2 rules that are behind Become the Banker. And to be honest, those are the 2 rules of the wealthy. If you look at any wealthy family, you look at the Rothschilds, the Vanderbilts, the Kennedys, or any individual person who's wealthy, that's made a tremendous amount of money, like the Walt Disneys, the Gerald Fords, J.C. Penney's, even, you look at some of the top people like Ben Bernanke. Thank you. I was having Ben Bernanke, who was ex-Federal Reserve Chairman. He controlled the money supply of this country. They focus on paying themselves first, number 1, and using other people's money. You don't use your money, use other people's money. Well, the problem is nowadays, using other people's money, you have to pay a lot of interest. Whereas with Become the Banker, you pay minimal, very little interest, but most of it's back to yourself. You're paying, just like my father said with that emergency, I've done the same with my vehicle. When I was 16 years old, my father showed me the Become the Banker strategy. I had a policy on me, and he started when I was born, just like all of my other siblings. I'm one of 6, and each one of us had his policy that he started on us when we were all born for our college education. Well, 16 came around, and I was looking for my first vehicle, and I went down to the table, I brought the newspaper out, and this is when you could still find a car on the back of the newspaper. You can't really do that anymore. But nowadays, you know, I brought it out to him, and I said, Dad, I've got the perfect vehicle here, a 1999 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, 130,000 miles on it, perfect first-time vehicle. And I said, how are we going to get this, Dad? How are we going to get this?
I remember that.
Well, and you know, if you guys have children or if you have grandkids, how are we going to get this? He said, how are you going to get this? You're going to have to get a job, get a loan, keep up with payments, Jordan. Money doesn't just grow on the trees. So that is when I really found out about Become the Banker, because he was able to show me I either go finance it through the First Bank of Littleton, which was our bank at the time, or finance it through my Become the Banker policy. And guess what? Of course, with Become the Banker policy, I was able to finance it over 3 years. I recaptured all the principal from that Jeep, and I recaptured all the interest that First Bank was going to make off of me.
That's right.
And the rule was I had to call the bank, ask what monthly payment, what interest rate they would have charged me had I gone with First Bank. And the second condition, the second rule is I had to pay that exact same interest rate, that exact same payment back to my policy. And I was so thankful because I had all the money back in my account at the end of the 3rd year.
That is right, and you know, I was so proud.
Yeah.
I was so proud when the Jeep was finally paid off at 3 years, and I think you drove it till you were
like 21, 22.
22,
yeah.
and then it finally, and,
215,000 miles, and finally kicked out on me.
I know, we used to take him to the mechanic, and he finally said to you, hey,
Yeah.
quit bleeding money to this car, let's get another one.
Yep.
So that's when he came to me again, because see, here's the key, I'm the owner of his policy. I control the money supply. He is the insured, so I'm the banker. So if you notice, he asked me for a loan, right?
Yep.
And he was able to actually do the same thing with several vehicles now.
Right.
He financed them through his Become the Banker policy. Plus, what else?
Yeah. No, I've just done it with a couple other properties. I mean, the story is you can use it for anything, whether it's the Dr. Smith, whether it's this client that we just met over the weekend for paying off debt, whether it's for emergencies, or whether it's for somebody just starting out trying to buy their first vehicle or down payment on a home. This concept is meant for anybody, any walk of life, and it doesn't matter where you're at in life because it can fit for you. So this is why we want you to continue to watch our series, continue to keep up with us. We're starting to show on each little series just little tidbits on how this Become the Banker strategy can really fit for you and your family. So we thank you again for joining us for the Fireside series number 7. I'm Jordan Quijano.
And I'm Joseph Quijano, Certified Financial Planner, family-owned company. And we want to thank you again for watching it. And we want to please ask you to like our channel, subscribe to our channel, and please keep an eye on the following videos that will be coming that will explain more and more and more of the power of the Become the Banker strategy. Thank you again for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.